everybody. Hello and welcome. I'm Lindsay Crane and these are my retro craft dreams, and it's time for another installment of figuring out my stash. So I'm putting this under Operation Clean Slate. I'm not getting rid of anything. Well, there might be one or two pieces, but today we're going to go through and reorganize my yarn. And I don't know what happens, but I have filmed reorganizing my yarn on multiple occasions and never published a video about it, I don't think. It's been a little while since I reorganized my yarn, and I have acquired new yarn and really need to sort through it and figure out what's what and what needs to go where. And he just unplugged my lamp. Good grief. He stepped on my power cord switch. So I got a whole bunch of yarn I need to sort through. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to work through this. I'm probably going to get everything on the bed and just kind of make piles and then go from there. And now he's digging in something else. I cannot win with this cat today. So I'm going to be paying attention though to whether it's vintage or modern, whether it's a synthetic or natural fiber. And then I'm also looking at quantity because there are a lot of batches of yarn that I already know that I want to make sweaters out of. And so I kind of want to group those things together, earmark what I can, see where I need to like fill in gaps to like get to a quantity that I need for something. And then I also do want to make sure that my database is updated. I've been trying to add yarn as I go, but there might be some that I missed. And I kind of have made it a little difficult for myself because I use Ravelry and Notion, primarily because Ravelry does not have my vintage patterns. So I've got it in my Notion anyway because it's so much easier to add my things there. So I put my yarn there as well, which, pro tip, if you are trying to migrate from Ravelry to your own personal thing, you can download the CSV file, and I was able to upload it right into Notion. But now I have to add it in both places. So I'm going to make sure that I've got all of my yarn added in both places, and then I might add projects for certain bundles of yarn in Notion. I probably won't put the projects on Ravelry until I have a pattern selected and all that, or until I'm at least ready to queue it. But I might put it in Notion. That way, even if my yarn ends up in storage for a while, I can still continue to look for patterns for projects I know I want to make, because I'll be able to see the yarn I intend to use and, you know, what I want to make with it. So I don't need access to the yarn to continue looking for patterns. So I've got 4 big containers over here. This does not include any of my yarn that is in current projects. That's already in project bags and scattered throughout the place. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started and see how far I get tonight. He is really distracting me. I do want to say, I know there's a whole meme about how, you know, collecting craft supplies is a whole additional hobby, like, you know, quilters and their fabric and knitters and crocheters and their yarn. Like, collecting the supplies is its own hobby. But it's not only that. It's not just like collecting the things. For me, when I go through my yarn, I'm not just looking at a collection of yarn. I'm looking at possibilities. And that, I think, is what I love the most about just going through my stash, because I'm just always inspired and I always see possibilities whenever I look through my yarn. Are you possibly the sweetest boy or the boogeriest boy? Boogeriest. Hi, Booger. We haven't used your Instagram in like since you were a kitten. Toby the Booger. Yes. That's your Instagram that we haven't used in several years. Because I don't use Instagram anymore because I'm really bad at it. All right, I gotta get started or I'm never gonna get anything done. We're gonna do that one last because this has been his favorite bed for the last couple nights, even though it's got some really good stuff in it. Oh, dude, you chewed a hole in there. Here he comes. Oh, no, you don't. You may not have the plastic. You may not have that. No. How do I keep you from doing that? All right, buddy. Anybody need a cat? Do not chew that plastic. Do not chew that plastic. You may not have it. This was really dumb. This was not the way to do this. I should have really been sorting as I went through. I still have another bin. I mean, this is what happens when you get like sweater quantities of stuff, right? Yeah. Yeah, this was not the right approach. This was a mistake. Oh, why are you doing that? You silly little yarn, you. You shouldn't be doing that. What do I do with him? I need that yarn that you're using as a pillow. I do though. Hi dude, you're cramping my style. All right, so what I need to do now is figure out which ones of these I have ideas for. Now he's gonna go. After I set up the camera just to see him. So there are some things that I have vague notions of what I want to make, but I don't know for sure if I have enough. Like, for example, this is a cotton yarn that I want to make a cotton sweater with. I have 5 of them. So I won't know until I look for patterns whether that's going to be enough. So do I want to stash this with my sweater quantity yarn, or do I want to just stash it with the rest of my cotton? I'm going to have to think on that. And then there's ones like this. I have 5 of this one. So same story, although I thought I had something in mind that might go with it. But then there's things like, well, there's things like this. This is not a vintage yarn, although it sure could easily be, but it does have a website on it. And this has been sitting at the thrift store for a really long time. And I finally decided to get it because I came across this. This is from my college stash, my novelty yarn college stash, but I didn't have it with the rest of that yarn because I always thought it would go really well in an 80s sweater. So I had it with the rest of my regular yarn stash. So when I came across it again the other day, it finally occurred to me that they go really well together. So I have 5 of these, although I think they're only 50 gram. Yeah. So I have 5 of these that are 50 grams. And then this, which is 50 grams. So what can I make with 6 50-gram balls? I don't know, but I think it would be nice to like just kind of stripe this in the way some of my 80s patterns do. So wherever I put this, I'm going to put it with that one because I'm pretty sure, no, I know I'm going to use them together because that's why I bought the gold yarn, is to help me use that, what is it, Glitalic? Okay, I've decided to go ahead and put most of my basic, like Super Saver level acrylic in the drawer with my novelty yarn because I don't actually intend to really make things with the acrylic. I mean, maybe eventually when there's some really vintage 70s project I want to do. But generally, I do just like to have it on hand for experimenting, practicing, and things like that. So I'm going to keep it in here. It's just going to be part of my basic stash. that I can just go to when I just need something I don't care about. Although I will say, whoa, I was going to say I bought this one for the color, but the color isn't orange. Is that better? It's a very bright pink, actually, but wow, that is showing up interestingly on camera. I cannot get that color to look realistic at all. But anyway, that one's just a really fun vintage color that I had to have. And then these actually I bought to make pom-poms for my hat that I made last year or the year before. And I didn't know which one I wanted to use, so I just bought both. And I never got around to making pom-poms. The hat is wool, but I didn't want to waste good wool on a pom-pom. So these are for pom-poms. I just haven't got around to it, but we're going to put those in with the acrylic and novelty yarn anyway. And I have a box somewhere with like little scraps, but I'm going to tuck that in here for now. Now I can't fit the others in. I've got a big pink one that I'm currently experimenting with somewhere. And then these that I bought for a project, but I found a color that I liked better. But I bought them from Joann's right before Joann's closed and I couldn't return them. They're going to be just basic stash. I don't have a lot that's not earmarked basic stash, but they are going to be that. I just don't know where I want to put them because they're not going to fit in the drawer. Are you just the happiest boy? You don't look happy. You kind of look grumpy. Got a hair on your face that isn't yours. Okay, it's about time that I stop for the night, and I still have a lot of work to do to get the other bins organized, but this one with all the acrylic that I'm not going to be using anytime soon has plenty of space. So what I want to put in here is actually the Kobu yarn and maybe some of the other cottons that I'm not going to be using anytime soon. So I'm going to go through that real quick. I'm going to pause what I'm working on, go through that so I can fill this up because I've got it kind of at an angle so it doesn't all fall down. And then these, they're not quite packed properly. These ones I'm going to rehank at some point. So I need them on top, and then I want those on top as well because that's probably the thing I'll use first out of everything in here. Whoops. Is that working? That's not working. It has been several days, and I think I realized I've been going about this all wrong. Well, yes, I'm trying to sort out by project. I think when I'm putting things away, I'm still hung up on storing by fiber. So I got everything out again, and I decided I'm commandeering the guest bedroom for the moment because that bed is a little bit easier to get around than mine because the space is not so tight in there. And so I've got all of my yarn that is basically a sweater laid out in there. There's a couple I'm going to have to check weight. It might not be quite enough, but it might also be like a vest or a blouse or something like that. And then here in the living room, I'll show you in a second, I've got one section of the coffee table of yarns that I want to feature in a sweater, but I don't have enough of for a whole sweater, as well as the other side where I've got a lot of non-sweater projects. There's some that I already know what I want to make. A couple I even have patterns for. Oh, maybe only one that I have a pattern for, but I know what I want to make with them. And then I've got all of my like single skeins that are going to be one skein projects. So I've got my pile of like one Skein Wonders somewhere else. We'll look at those later. The rest of my yarn that's still in the bin is like one-offs. They're not going to be featured in a project, but they're things that I can use to supplement. So they're like proper stash yarn and leftovers and things like that. So I think what I want to do right now is go through those and see if they match up with anything else, to just see if I can, group any of these other remaining quantities of yarn with things that I could potentially turn into whole projects. And that doesn't mean it won't change in the future, but I think that's what I want to try to do. And then what I've done is I've ordered some organza bags, like really big ones, so that I can bag up each of these potential projects. I'm really hoping I can get to bagging some of those up today. But they came in with a really strong chemical smell. I ordered 50 of them. So I've got half of them soaking right now in some like dish soap and vinegar. I'll probably want to rinse them out pretty soon and then maybe let them dry in the sun and see if that helps. And then if that helps, then I'll do the same with the other half. I do think that's going to help me a lot, because then instead of dealing with tons and tons of like, oh, I've got 4 of these that I need to move every time I decide to like put it in a project or put it in a different bin or whatever, I can just take the whole bags at a time. And when I'm ready for that project, I just grab it all at once. So let me show you what I've got going on and how many sweaters I've got. I have a lot of sweaters. I have a lot of sweaters ready to go. And I'm sorry for the shaky, but I didn't think I was going to talk this long, so I didn't get my tripod. Let me go show you what I've got. Cozy? Feeling good? The cat has made himself quite at home in here. I'm sorry, it's a little echoey. There's not a whole lot of furniture in here. So I think I counted 21 sweaters here. So let me just give you a little close up of each of them, starting with the cat. Hi, buddy. So he is in my beautiful Fildar tweed. I think I have 12 of these. This is a whole sweater, needs nothing further. I've got 2 yarns here. I had bought this first. This is just a Lamb's Pride pure wool, beautiful orange color. And so when I wanted this Fildar Aquarelle, I think there's 6 of them. So like, okay, no, there's 5. So not a terrible quantity, but surely not a whole sweater. And I only bought it because I realized I could put these 2 together. So these 2 yarns are a whole sweater. Odds are I might even have some left over of this, but we'll see. We've got this huge thrifted quantity, Artful Yarns Broadway. I don't know when this is from. I'm gonna guess 90s based on the label. There's no like website or anything, so I don't think it's necessarily newer than that. But yeah, I've got a whole sweater of that. I don't know if I'm going to want to put it with something else, but probably one of my mohair 80s patterns will work great with that. Then I've got my Sport Jarret from Nevada. I've got 2 colors of that, so if I work, they always look the same on camera, but this one's blue and this one's green. So with a stripy pattern, that should be plenty for a sweater there. Here I've got some Brunswick Quick Mist. I'm not entirely sure that's enough for a sweater. And I've got mostly, what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 green and then 1 pink. So that's going to be a sweater, but it might need something else. And I'm not entirely sure that I want to put the pink with it, unless I can figure out, if it was the other way around, it'd probably make a great watermelon sweater. But we'll see. Then over here in super shiny plastic, hang on, maybe I should take these out. This is another Fildar. This is Poil Flamme. Oh, and it's gorgeous. And I don't know for sure if this is enough for a whole sweater, but it's probably going to be pretty close. I might be able to make it work depending on the pattern. This is a pack of Brunswick Video. Again, I may want like a supplement color for this, but it's probably enough for a whole sweater. Again, depending on the pattern, it just might be nice to have a contrast in there. We've got a pack of yellow Brunswick Breeze. That's probably a good t-shirt. We got Fildar Tweed Dete, another t-shirt. I think this one would be close. I could probably do a short sleeve t-shirt with like an open stitch. That's probably going to be enough. Then I have my Wild Cotton from Cruci. I am going to use some black cotton with that, and I think it's going to be the leftovers from another project that I'm currently working on. I think I should have enough leftover black cotton from my Allure sweater that I can use for that, just for like trim, and then otherwise it should probably be enough. And then up here we've got another Fildar Indira. Yeah, Indira. So that should be enough for like a t-shirt or something. And over here, Brunswick Panache. This is a beautiful cotton. I might need to find something to supplement, but again, nice little t-shirt would also work. Unfortunately, this goes so well, but it's wool. That's cotton and this is wool. So even though they would look beautiful together, they don't go together. Now I've got, what, 2 skeins of each of these 3 colors. So I don't know for sure that it's enough for a whole sweater, but it could be, because that's what, 600 grams? But I definitely want to use all of these together in a project. Other side of the bed. This is just some Knit Picks palette, and I have a pattern for this. As soon as I finish some of the ones I've got going, this is next on my list. This is gonna be my first Fair Isle. It's gonna be a vest, and I'm really super excited about that. Then this is some really rough thrifted wool. I think it's hand spun, and I have like, I don't know, 1,000 something, 1,100, 1,200 grams of this. So this might actually, oh, and there's this little black one too. So this, I originally had one idea in mind for a vest, and then I recently wanted to make something else with it, but there's probably enough here for both. In either case, I'm going to experiment with dyeing it, at least some of it. So that's why it's good that it's like, I mean, it's crappy, it's really scratchy, but I think it'll be great to experiment with. So this is actually 2 projects, and I have the pattern for one, but I can't get gauge. So I may have to rework that pattern to meet the gauge that this is, because it didn't work holding it double. And then the other one I'm going to create a pattern for. So I'll need to like weigh them out so I can divvy it up properly. Then we have this Red Heart Luster Sheen. So I have no idea what I'll make with that, but that is surely enough for something. Sold as a whole pack, I think, although this is not the original bag. This one is a thrifted unraveled sweater that I had in balls, and this one I had both of these in cakes, and I decided they'd be much easier to store in hanks. So I have been rehanking all of my big cakes. So this is definitely enough for a sweater because it was a sweater, but I'm still probably going to look for something to put with it. Then I have my Bernat Stardust, again in 2 colors. So together there's plenty here for a whole sweater. I did actually have a pattern chosen at one point in time, but now, I don't know, I'm kind of having second thoughts, and I might find something else. I'm not always sure if they really work together, but I'm sure I'll put them together anyway. Might be nice to see if I can find some color, some additional yarn to like help them work with each other a little bit better. But there's definitely enough there for something. Then I've got my Lana Moro Flurry. Now there's not, I don't know, there might be enough here for a sweater, but I want to find an additional yarn, even if it's just 1 skein each, in like, we've got blue and orange and green in here, and I would love to use, to find those to use as accent colors and make like a tennis sweater with it. I think that would be really cute. And then over here, I've got a shawl and a ball. So I've got 3 of these, and I bought them for a very specific sweater. And I might still make that sweater with it, but I need 2 other yarns for it. So I might use this one with that. Although if I want to use this for that particular pattern, I need more of it, and this is discontinued. And then there's still the question of the 3rd yarn. However, no matter what, this is enough for a sweater, even if I don't use that pattern. Then I've got this. Now I've got 5 of these, and they're 50 grams each. And then I've got this one from the early 2000s that I think will go really well. So there's only 300 grams here, but if I find the right kind of like blouse or something, it could be enough. And then I've got my leftover Unger Fluffy plus some gray. And I think I could make a vest with that, just like the sweater that I already made, but without the sleeves. I think this might actually be enough for something like that. And then finally, the last thing on the bed is this. These three colors are the leftovers from my Cool Times Barbie leg warmers with my hottest hot pink I have ever seen. Yeah, the camera still doesn't even do it justice, and you can see that it's glowing. But I don't actually know if I want to use those colors in a sweater or not, or find something else. I had bought these colors as well. Wow, that is showing up the same as that, but yeah, it's not. This is a lot more green than the camera is showing. So I had this yellow, this turquoise, and this is just some Lion Brand Hometown that I have left over from something else. And I really wanted to do something with these. There's not enough, I have two each of these and just that of this. So there's not enough for a whole sweater, but I could do some kind of intarsia graphic, and then find a black yarn to supplement for like the back and the sleeves and everything. It might work with the hot pink, but I'm not entirely sold. So they're sitting here, but it might just be half of this that's for a sweater. So that is my 21 sweaters right here. So let's check out now what I've got that are smaller projects or that I'm working on filling out into something bigger. This is baby llama and alpaca, and what I really want to do is make a very 70s shawl. Now, I would prefer to knit it so that it uses less yarn, but it is very hard to find, you know, quintessentially 70s shawl patterns that aren't crochet. Additionally, it could be two different projects. So it could be these in one and this in another, something smaller, or it could all be one. Not entirely sure yet, but definitely want to make a great big 70s triangle shawl. These are Bad Amy knits. They're called TARDIS Blue, and I am going to make a TARDIS scarf with that. Using the pattern, I think it's Bigger on the Inside is what it's called. It is on Ravelry. It's a shawl pattern, but I think I'm going to modify it into a scarf. This is some more Knit Picks palette. These 4 colors here. These 3 for sure. I did my little first, this is my very first Fair Isle test to see if I could do it. And I really like the way those 3 look kind of Christmassy. So I want to use these 3 to make something Christmassy. I'm not sure yet whether or not I'll use that one in it. Still need to find a pattern anyway. It would probably just be a hat. But that's what I want to do with that. And then I've got this bag of varying purple wool. It's the same as this one, this Lamb's Pride. So I've got all those purples and that little remnant of black, and I'm probably going to make a hat or a scarf with those. I forgot to say anything about this red and gray alpaca. This is the leftover from my heart mitts, and I plan on making a matching hat with it. Then I've got these 3. These are the same ones that we saw in the other room with the peach and the beige, and so I want to use these together. I have actually used some of one of these in a hat, so it's not, one of those is not a complete skein, but it's pretty close. I don't know what I want to make with these, but I want to use them all together. It'll probably just be a shawl or a scarf or something like that. And these are some more Knit Picks palette that I bought when I was trying to figure out what color to use for my vest that I'm going to make. So I bought a couple extras so I could actually see what was going to work best. These are the ones I decided against for that project, but they are beautiful together, and I want to find something that I can make with those. And then I've got these 4. These are cotton. I don't know what I'm going to make with them, but they are all going together. So I need to find some good pattern for cotton for 400 grams. Then I've got this one. I've got 5 of these, not quite enough for a whole thing unless, well, not that vest. I think that vest actually calls for 6, but there could be some kind of vest that I can make with that. Or maybe I'll find something to supplement with. These I only have 4 of. Where's the one with the label? This is another Fildar. I get a lot of Fildar ones. Francesca. Really beautiful. It's a wool. Really love it. I want that featured in something. And then this also is a Fildar. Imprime. Same story. I've got 6 of these, and I want those featured in something. Then I have 6 of these Lion Brand Bianca. Look at that beautiful rainbow. Not enough for a whole sweater. Really want to find something to go with those because they'll make a great sweater. And then here I've got just 3 of these. I don't know what to use those for, but they should be featured in something. And again, 3 of these Penguin Pondrus. I don't know. It's very acrylic mohair look yarn. It's a nice hot pink, so I want to find some good project to put with that. And then this is actually one of the first yarns that I thrifted when I started hoarding new yarn. And at the time, I wanted to make a very lacy shawl with these. These do have 10% mohair, 10% wool, the rest acrylic. Now, I could use this for something else. Or I could go ahead with my very lacy shawl idea, although it's probably way more than I need for that. So I don't know. And then finally, I have 2 different mohairs here. This blue one, there's 5, and I can't find anything on that brand or name, whatever. I can't find anything on that. And then I've got 4 of these Cluckheaton in a very deep purple. So I'm looking for things to supplement the stuff on this side of the table, and then this side of the table, they're pretty much projects. I just got to figure out what. Although that could end up being something that I want to turn into something bigger. So I could end up wanting to do Fair Isle with that as well. So this is a whole lot, and I am like out of breath from just explaining my yarn stash, but it's really exciting though. It's just possibilities, and I love that. What I want to do now, before I show you my single skein, my one Skein Wonders, I don't have anywhere to lay them out at the moment. I'm going to go through my bin of remaining yarn and just see if any of this can match up, you know? And actually, some of these on the table might match up already. Let's have a look. Having this all out, like, I'm wondering if, you know, maybe these together. Oh, this lighting is terrible. Hang on. Is this better? It's a little darker, but it's also a more true color. So yeah, I could do something with those. Now, again, I've only got 4 of the Francesca, so I don't know how I would like the mohair worked up by itself. I may still want to find something to hold it with. Although this 80s mohair, like, you know, it's got enough of a core that it can stand on its own. So I could do those together. I could do it with the, no, I don't like that as much. It could also work with the Simona. So I could use these, for a mohair project. I also do kind of like these together. The colors are really subtle and beautiful. Let me get the other one on top. There we go. The only thing is the fiber content. This one is cotton. This one has mohair. This is a box of some of the yarn that I'm trying to match up to projects. I do have a whole separate bin of cottons that are just, I'm not trying to do anything with at this point. A lot of them are just stash. Although some of these are cottons that I don't need to do anything with. Let's start looking at this one. I've got 2 of these I bought for a sweater that I decided not to use it for. So does this go with anything? I could do it with a mohair. Would look pretty decent with the purple mohair. No, it doesn't look right at all. Oh. Could work with the hot pink. It's only 4% wool, so I might not need to worry too much about mixing fiber content with something that's only 4% wool and the rest is, you know, acrylic like this. So I could put these together. There's only 3 of these and I have 2 of those, but these are so big, like that might be enough for something. Let's go check the other room. Do I want this in any of these sweaters? He is still camped out over there. It could work with these, but I think this one, I don't know, texturally, they might be just too vastly different. I mean, the shine on this alone, that might not work. No. What about the quick mist? Maybe. Now this is looking turquoise on camera, but it's actually an emerald green. Like it's a very bright emerald green. It could work. Next, I've got 2 of these, or almost 2. The other one's only 41 grams. I could use it here. Now, I'm not entirely sure that I like it with this, but they are very, very similar. This one's a little, these feel like they're a little more dense, but I think other than that, they're pretty similar yarns. So I could use that together. Could also work with the Francesca if I want to do gray with that. What if I did that and the purple mohair? Is that, no, I think these 2 colors, they're not doing it for me. What about with the Imprime? No, I think it's just too gray. This needs something in stark contrast, like a black or another bold color. Probably just black. I don't know. Let's go check the other room. I'm not against mixing gray and brown, but they do have to be the right kind. I don't think I hate it, but I don't think that's what I'm gonna want. What do you say, buddy? Doesn't work with the orange, right? No. Nope. Okay. This is probably my best chance, unless I want to use it with the Francesca, but then I would need a 3rd color and it wouldn't be that. All right, what's next? This one, Vintage Columbia Minerva, 100% virgin wool. Very beautiful orangey tweedy color here. Doesn't really go with much, although I could, if I decide not to use this one for Christmas, I could do something lovely with those together. But the textures are very different. The Columbia Minerva, it's vintage. It's a lot scratchier than the Knit Picks palette. But like a hat, it might not matter as long as this isn't the part that's touching my ears. And I keep forgetting, I do want to find something else to go with this. I could use this for maybe just a stripe here and there. And I think, yeah, they are similar weights. So that could be an option if I just wanted to like throw a little stripe around my hems or something in that. That could work together. We do of course have this orange bit over here, but the weights are very different and I think it's just it would blend too much anyway, even if I doubled this, plus texture wise. So I think I might keep that together for now. Because that's probably the best chance I have of using that anytime soon. This one, I've got 3 of these. Trendsetter Yarns Essence. I've had this since college, so 20 years. It does have 35% wool, which kind of always throws me off because it's this like stringy, ribbony thing. It's really weird. There we go. There's a good shot of it. So I don't know what to do with this. I don't even know how to knit this up. This was probably the very first wool anything that I bought. It's certainly the first like non-big box store yarn that I ever bought in my entire life. Oh, I wonder if it could go with that one again. Would it go with that Columbia Minerva? Let me go grab that. Hang on. Like if I did something with these 3, I don't know what it would be because I've only got 1 of those and 1 of those and 3 of these. But they do go together kind of nicely. Although, of course, gauge-wise, not really. But I think what I would end up doing is like a drop stitch with this one. And then, you know, regular stitches with those. So that's a possibility. But I'm not sold on it. So let's go put this back. You are just in heaven, bud. I mean, it doesn't not work, but I think it would rob too much from the vintage yarn that I don't think I want to do that. And then this one's actually cotton. No, that wouldn't work anyway. Could it? Ooh. Again, I always feel like, you know, when they're this wacky, like it's gonna steal too much focus from the beautiful colorways like that. But that could be a possibility as well, just for some kind of embellishment with that. But I don't think so. No, so I still don't know what to do with these. This is a Bernat Galaxy. This is also from college, and it didn't make it into my other college stash video because it has mohair and alpaca. I feel like at some point I knew what I wanted to do with it, what I wanted to use it with, but now I don't remember. So I don't know. But let's see if it goes with anything here. Nope, 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 nope. Nothing. Okay, other room. Again, we've got the like too much competition, but the colors do kind of work. Oh, I know what I was thinking before. I was thinking these together for something. So if I don't end up using this beige divine with the shawl in a ball, I could do something with these together. So that's an option. Nope, nope, nothing in here. All right, anything else I want to try and match up? This one, I really love this one. I've got not quite 2. That one's what, 46 grams? Well, yeah, maybe it's 2. But it's this really beautiful, like watercolory tonal purple. It does have 10% mohair. I was wondering if it would go with the mohair I've got here, but I think the purples are just too vastly different. Here's my dilemma. It is so beautiful with this one, but this one is cotton and acrylic, and this one is acrylic and mohair. I think they could be really lovely together, but are the fiber content quantities too different? Is like the cotton here and the 10% mohair here, are they going to fight with each other too much? Because if not, I think this could be a great pairing. You know, a vest or something with this, and then like accents and stripes or something in that. I don't know, but that's one possibility. That's too vastly different. That, of course, is acrylic as well. That's cotton. Let's see what we got in the other room. Do I want to throw any purple into that? You know, I could. There is some purple in this. So I could use it on that, but I do feel like, I think it changes the nature of that palette a lot, but that could be an option. And nothing else will go with this shade of purple. Oh my God, he is just so in heaven. All right, so I think I am going to try and see if this might be okay. So I'm gonna store these together just in case. What else? Now I have these 3, actually 4. These 4 are all remnants of that same Patons Divine, that beige that I've got with those 3 balls of shawl in a ball. These pale colors I could do something with together. This one, I don't know, but oh, it's so beautiful. I love it so much. I really want to use this somewhere. Part of me kind of wants to get more of it, but I have actually made a scarf and hat with this, and the hat got felted because these do have mohair in them. I think I already know that this isn't going to work with anything, but oh, it could possibly work with that peach and beige bit. Do those compete too much? Shoot. I think they do. Doesn't really go with anything else in here, but this is what it is. So like I could always do something with these together if I don't use the Divine with that. So that's 2 options for the Divine if I don't use it there. Color-wise, could make a fun trim, but no. All right, don't know what to do with that one. And no, those don't go together. And no, those don't go together. All right, don't know what to do with that one. What else? So these 3, no, I think they're too pale to go with any of my other mohairs. Unless I got like all different kinds of purple together. Could be fun to like add this onto like the trim or something. But no, I don't want to store it that way. All right, what else? This one is another beautiful mohair. I don't know what to do with this one, and it's not showing up properly on camera. At first, I had hoped I could use it with this one. But I think there's just, it's going to steal too much attention. I think there's too much color variation in this mohair to really work with any of these and not take away too much from those. Could use it to trim The Flamme, I think it's too much. All right, nope. Nope, nope. Got nothing for this. I don't know, those didn't end up in the bin. This one, I feel like I could do something with these two together. This is, I forget what the brand is, but the yarn is called Jamie. But yeah, this one I don't think is gonna go with any of my projects. So that's just stash yarn. This is one I've had for a long time. It's just a boucle. And I feel like I had an idea in mind for something I wanted to do with this, but I don't know anymore what that was. And I don't think it's any of these projects. Although maybe with the Bianca, just like as a trim, could do that. No, nothing else in here that I want to use this for. I think whatever I do, I'll just keep these together because that might be the most likely thing. So then I've just got a couple random balls of different vintage cottons. Oh, and then I've got this one. So I've got what, two and a half skeins of this Bernat Danish bulky. Now I could actually put these together. So that could be something fun, although I don't know what, but does it go with anything? Nope, it doesn't go with anything else. Could go with that. I could even do like the black, gray, and red, but I don't know what. Nope. Ooh, or does it compete too much with the Brunswick video? Yes, it competes way too much with the Brunswick video. I mean, I think it's the peppermint stripe too. Like, it kind of looks Christmassy, but I think that's it. That's the only other red yarn. So don't know what to do with that one. So I don't know what to do with any of these, which means these are just stash yarns. I can use them to supplement wherever I want. This is a Knit Picks fingering gloss, so that would be a good thing to supplement somewhere, but I don't know where, and that's all I have of it. Don't even know what this is. I didn't buy it, I inherited it somewhere. This is some Wool Ease remnant. Could do something with that, I guess. But yeah, so besides that, I also have this. So this is just my cotton. Well, I've got these two acrylic. This is from Daiso Japan. I kind of wanted to try and make socks out of it, although I don't even know if it's good for that. But this is kind of like one of the yarns that I experiment with. These four are the leftovers from my Cool Times Barbie sweater because I used so little for that duplicate stitch pattern. Need to like pick them up like bugles. Be fingernails. There we go. So those are the leftovers from my Cool Times Barbie. There's so much. I could do a whole something with that. And then down here on the bottom is my stash of Lion Brand Kobu that I just loved, and I bought in like every color. You can see some of it I used. Some of it I might need to use for my other Kobu project I've got going on. I think these colors I use in that project, so I could use that for this. This one I actually bought for Cool Times Barbie as well, so I used a little bit of it. But yeah, so those are just stash. Maybe I'll come up with something to do with it, but they're just there just in case. And then I've got 4 of these. These are Kid Cotton. They came in a mystery box that I bought. Don't know what to do with those, so they're just stash cottons. Always good to have some black cotton of varying weights anyway. And finally, these 3, they're the same as the purple and blue ones I've got out there. I considered I could use this green in that same project. I just don't think I like the purple and blue as much with these on there. They do go with the yellow kind of. I'm not sure I like the yellow. Although now I wonder, nah, because I might need something to supplement this panache with, but I don't think that's it. The weight is way too different. Nope, not gonna work with that. Green and yellow for the Brunswick Breeze. A hand-painted green with a yellow boucle. I don't know. I mean, just because they're both cotton doesn't mean they work. I don't hate it, but I can't envision that. I don't think yellow and green on their own would work. So yeah, I don't think I've got a use for this green at this point either. So we're just gonna keep it in there as stash. This is a lot. And I'm kind of excited, like I'm always so excited to see what projects I can make, and I'm always really sad that I can't work as fast as I want to. But I think it's good for me to see what goes together, what possibilities I have, what I still need to find. And so I'm gonna tidy this up, and then I'll get out my single skeins just so I can show you those. They're just gonna be single skein projects. There might be a couple that I might want to work into something at some point, but mostly I'll be looking for like shawls or scarves or hats or things like that for these individual skeins and balls. I'm going to clear off this table first and go from there. And before I do that though, I'm going to rinse out my organza bags so they can have a little bit of time to dry in the sun, so that hopefully I can bag these up by project. But yeah, I still really need to figure out, solutions for ones like that and that. But I think I did come up with a couple things. I'm really feeling that, I'm really feeling this combo. And I've had the thought before, but I think, being able to store them together and like in a bag together when I go to look for projects for this yarn, I can have in mind that that's what I want to do, which will then help me figure out better patterns for how to blend these yarns. So a lot of these, like, they might not end up in the same projects that I have them paired with now, but it's always good to have that possibility. So yeah, and then this one, I should decide what's better for this one. A little bit of hot pink or a little bit of candy cane red. I'm kind of thinking this one, actually. The hot pink. Yeah, actually, I'm kind of feeling this. I might want to find like a solid black for that hot pink. Or I wonder if that hot pink could work with, ooh. Yay or nay? Color-wise, yes. Content-wise, this is 100% acrylic, right? Oh, wait, no, it's not. This has 10% wool and 10% mohair, but this one is cotton and mohair and wool. So actually, I mean, texture-wise, the video is way softer, but that could work. Why didn't I put those together before? Why didn't I think of that? That could work. Yes, because there's enough of the Brunswick video for a whole sweater, but I wanted to break up the static. Yep, that's what it is. It's video static. Yes. I did want to break it up with a solid color, and I kept having in mind that this was going to be, more like this Quick Mist, which is 100% acrylic. Like the Quick Mist is actually a little bit softer. But yeah, that could work. I'm going to bag those up together. Woo! And while I'm here mixing and matching, let me just have a quick peek at that. Of course, you can't see. Let's see if you can see it any better in the other room. Because actually, that pink is kind of in there. That is not accurate color, but it's just enough so you can see that there are little strands of the same pink in the other two yarns. So that could be an option too. Yes, I could just use all of the Quick Mist in something together, or if I want to like add a little bit of contrast to that, I could use the Quick Mist in there. But I can only store this with one or the other, so I'm probably going to have to store it with the green. But it's good to know that that's an option. What was I saying before I got like distracted by an epiphany? I don't know, but that's kind of the whole point of doing this. By getting everything laid out and just kind of walking around, holding things up to each other, I can figure out what might go with other things. The Giovanni and the Simona that I've been staring at next to each other all day, like they don't not work together. Maybe? I don't know. So anyway, yeah, back to my previous thought. I got to clear off this table, and then I will show you my Skein Wonders because, single skeins of yarn are always fun to look at. right? Well, I thought I would use my tripod for this one, except I ended up using it to hold hangers of all of the organza bags so they could dry out in the sun. So my tripod is currently being a drying rack outside. But anyway, I will quickly show you what I have here in my single skein stash. There is one though, I forgot. This one is just a beautiful heathered purple wool. And I did forget, this one could actually supplement other things that we looked at earlier. And I'm going to probably go through later and see if it matches up with anything. But first, let me show you what else I've got. These are my like fancy skeins mostly. Some of them were in a mystery box that I got. And then others, most of the others were thrifted. There was a lady at the thrift store, she donated her whole stash, so I got a lot of these for really good prices. This one is particularly special to me. I bought this at Pike Place Market just before I left Seattle, so I want to do something really special with this one. I don't know why I was drawn to this color, but it's just really beautiful. I'm really hoping to make a scarf with that pretty soon. It's probably going to be a scarf or a shawl. But yeah, so I've got this purple that I could probably use somewhere else if I need to. I have another Bad Amy Knits TARDIS blue. This one is in a different weight than the other, so I may make 2 TARDIS scarves. One for me, one for someone else. I'm not sure. And then these are just some really beautiful, are they both? Yeah, those are both the same brand, and they both have cashmere in them, and they're just really lovely, and I couldn't say no. Same with these. I'm just really drawn to those purple colorways. So I don't know what I'll do with them, but whatever I do, they'll be like single skein projects. And then back here, this one was in my mystery box. It's okay. It's not one of my favorites. Maybe I'd look for a solid color to like accent it with. I have no idea what it's going to look like knit up. This one was also in that mystery box. And I think I don't like it. I think I might actually donate this one. I don't know what to do with it. I would like it a lot more if it didn't have this brown in it, but it's a really weird, where are you? Cotton viscose blend, and I don't know what to do with it. So I think I'm going to donate that one. This was another thrifted one. And it is a yarn dyer who is no longer in business, but just really loved the colorway, so couldn't pass that one up. These two, they are the same color, except one is variegated and one is not. So whatever I do, I will use them together, and I don't know exactly in what way, but just really beautiful colors. This one I thrifted a long time ago, and I have no idea what it was, but it's like the first time I'd seen a hank of yarn that I could thrift. I still haven't done a burn test on this, but yeah, it was just a couple bucks. So I'm gonna have to play with that one, do a burn test, and figure out what I can do with that. But those are most of my single skeins. I've got one of these. This was part of my mystery box. I had 2 of them, and I made a shawl with the other one. So I do think I might make a hat with this one and just make a matching, have a matched set there. This one was also part of my mystery box. This is Queensland Perth, so that's just another lovely wool. I could do something with this one. I could actually use it with any of the other purple yarns that I have. So don't know for sure, but love that one. I had 2 of these, and I've made 3 things with it so far, for my little brother and my sister-in-law and their baby. So I might just stash this if they have another kid in the next few years. Then I'll be able to make something for that baby too, and they'll all have something in the same matching yarn. Then let's see. This was a pair of thrifted socks that had some holes in it. And I actually just brought it home to rescue the yarn, and I don't really like the colors, so I think I'm going to donate that. I'll put a note on it that it's got a lot of knots, but it does seem to be a really nice sock wool. So I'm going to get rid of those 2 things. Anyway, this one I thrifted. It was really beautiful. Didn't know what it was. Finally did a burn test on it. It is natural fiber. It is probably wool. And I really want to figure out something I can do with that, but I have no idea what. And then a little thrifted bit of Angora. Really beautiful. Don't know what to do with that. Another thrifted one. Didn't know what it was. I did a burn test on this one a little while ago, and it too is a natural fiber of some kind. So I don't know. I want to make something cute with that, but it's probably, again, just going to be on its own, whatever I can make little with just that. And then over here is just like, I don't know, Lion Brand haul, I guess. So these three are all shawl in a ball because I really loved that yarn for a while. This one, these two are the same colorway, and I used all of the blues and purples in a scarf, and I cut out the red and yellow because I wanted the blue and purple scarf. But now, then when I saw this one at the thrift store, I was like, oh, I can put them together and do something else with that one. This one was actually, this is a remnant for a scarf I made for my mom. And I got 2 balls and I didn't need all of the second one. And then this one, I just really loved that colorway. And so I will make a shawl with that at some point, probably. This is actually a reclaimed, I think it's scarfie. It was something at the thrift store that somebody had knit up, and I brought it home and unraveled it. I might take it back and donate it, but yeah, so that's all, I think, Lion Brand scarfie. And then this one I did buy new. I tried making something with it at some point and then unraveled that. I think it's, what is it? Incredible? Lion Brand Incredible. So yeah, there are my single skeins. Basically what remains is that I need to pack everything up, and what I want to be able to do is, after I get everything back in bags by potential project, then I can select like my top priority projects, and then also have a bin of the projects that I'm still looking for yarn for. And I can kind of keep them separate by that, but because they'll be in the organza bags, if I decide to reorganize, like, it'll be a lot easier to do. I think my biggest issue though is that I look at all of these things and I see all of these possibilities, and in my head it's like, oh yeah, I can knit that up real quick. I'm just gonna do this real quick. This is what I want to do with this, and this is what I want to do with that, and let me just do that real quick. And then I start a project and 5 months later it's not done. I really thought I could get 4 sweaters knit this summer, and I'm only halfway done with one. Granted, some of that was because I was getting repetitive use injury, because I have been doing so much more knitting than usual. But yeah, it's kind of frustrating. Like, I have a lot of yarn, but it's not because it's not about trying to have a stash. Like, I see this yarn and I think, I know what I want to make with that. I want to make something with that. You know, I get inspired. And there's not enough hours in the day, and like seeing it all out again, I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to do this real quick. I want to do that. And like, none of it's quick. Okay, I had to rehank that ball so I could see how pretty it was and get a full view of all the colors, and look how pretty that is. I'm so happy that that's wool. Now it'll be easier to store with my other hanks. And I'm kind of annoyed that this one didn't come as a hank, because I'm feeling like for long-term storage, they're just going to be easier to manage in hanks. And I might end up rehanking all of these as well. I'm also feeling like this blue might be a good thing to use the Angora with. I don't know what it would be, but maybe like, I don't know, some kind of marled stripy hat with an Angora trim could be cute. I just like the way the white looks with that blue. It's just really pretty. And again, it's greener in real life than it's showing on here. It's more of a turquoise, and this is like looking like an ocean blue. I had totally forgotten that what I was thinking of for this one, I mean, it's so beautiful, but I was thinking it could make a good background base color for another Fair Isle project with these 3. I don't know if the Knit Picks gloss would work or not, but what do we think? Like, would that work with or without this one as a Fair Isle project? Or I don't know, maybe that color's too bright and it would take away too much from that yarn. So yeah, could I do Fair Isle these colors? Should I pack all of that up together? Maybe. I'm like just waiting for my organza bags to finish drying so I can put all this away and like, you know, just still getting ideas. So I'm just trying to document them as I get to them. I realize like this is almost the same as the Unger Fluffy, and it does have this silvery gray in there. Would work really well with the gray Unger Fluffy. However, I would have to choose if I want to use the gray Fluffy with the Giovanni or the blue Fluffy. Like I wouldn't do all three of these together, but it can be this or it can be this. Either way, it would be a small project unless I found an additional yarn, but that's a possibility. He has not budged. I mean, he's budged, he's turned, he is still here. Actually, these are sitting next to each other. If I need to add an additional color, I could do this one first and then use the leftover. If I want to do like any accent color on that. I don't think I need to though. That's probably going to just be a solid sweater. Yeah. Which shade of black do we want, Toby? My shade. Although I don't have enough of this one to use anywhere except for this purpley hat, it's been good to like just kind of play with and see where else I might want it. Like I don't want it there, but this one probably would look good with black, but definitely it does not work with the gray. So my bags are just about dry. I can start bagging these up and figuring out where to put them and get this place tidied up and sorted out and projects prioritized. And yeah, he's not going to be happy to give that up though. Well, I need to wash more bags, but you'll be happy to know that the dish soap and vinegar soak worked and got the chemical smell out of these bags. So if you try this yourself and they stink, that worked for me. So I gotta wash the rest of them. I did buy a 50 pack, so I have plenty. But yeah, I think this will be good. Yeah, buddy? Yeah, it's not plastic. You can't chew it. Are you gonna claw it up? So what I'm gonna do now is see if any of these are ones that I want on my shelf, and then the rest are gonna get put back in the bins, yeah? Alrighty. Even though I'm not exactly saving any storage space or cleaning anything off my slate, this has been so worth it just to have all of the yarn for each project contained together. And in these bags, I can still easily see it, be reminded of it, and inspired all over again. And I can fit a lot more on my shelves this way too. I am really happy with some of the pairings that I found. I cannot believe it never occurred to me to put that hot pink with Brunswick Video. Genius, loving it, can't wait to do it. And I'm just really excited for all of these projects. So let me know what you think. I really want to thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you next time. Bye.